I am sure by now that you've heard the news that former President Donald Trump has been indicted yet again. This is the fourth indictment. This one came from Georgia in the attempts to overturn the election. Those are the basis for the charges. I want to talk about this today. Actually, I don't want to talk about it, but I need to talk about it. There's something about this that I think stands out. So before I do that, once again, I'm Elliott Connie. I'm a licensed psychotherapist. I like to cover the news stories and talk about the psychological aspects that are going on in these news stories. So please support my page, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, hit the bell so you get notified when I post new videos. We post a video every single day, Monday through Friday. So here's the report.
We have just had official word that the docket has been updated. That is the publicly facing portion of the official docket. The court, this is the court website. And I can tell you now officially that former President Donald J. Trump has been criminally indicted in the state of Georgia.
So he has been criminally indicted for the fourth time, this time along with 18 others. And there's a long list I won't go into, but you can look it up. Rudy Giuliani is one, Mark Meadows is another, Sidney Powell, his former attorney, or maybe even still attorney, I don't know, is another. But all of them for the attempts to overturn the outcome of the election in Georgia. You know, I don't want to keep making videos about Donald Trump, and I want to talk to you about exactly why. I think to some degree it feels a lot like Groundhog Day, and I absolutely believe, I don't know that it even makes a difference. I think people have made up their mind in their decision about Donald Trump, whether you are a supporter of his or not. And I find that disheartening because it almost feels like, and people talk about like maybe he should be disqualified from running for president. If you know, like the laws are, if you're under indictment, you can still run for president, then have at it. But I've come to a really kind of almost sickening realization, like there is no evidence whatsoever that the election in 2020 was stolen. 60 courts threw out different lawsuits trying to overturn the election. 6-0. He literally was 0 for 60 in filing court cases to overturn the election, claiming that election officials cheated. There were people submitting videos saying that their election officials casting ballots 2 and 3 times and passing out ballot forms at the election sites, and none of that was true. And these people have admitted that it wasn't true. Rudy Giuliani admitted that what he said was not true and was not in those videos. And the realization I've had is like, people hear that stuff, and I'm like, if people would understand that the election was not stolen, then it would impact the way they view Donald Trump as a candidate. And it doesn't. And I realize now that I actually think they do know that he's lying. I actually think they do know that the things he's been saying are false and untrue. I just don't think they care. I think Donald Trump represents something that they're just okay with, and they don't care about the side effects. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about reality. They don't care about the transgressions. Like none of that stuff matters. Why I find that so sickening and disheartening is because for the office of the president, it should matter. For the office of the president, it should make a difference. It should make a massive difference. And it doesn't. And I think about that and I think, if a woman like Hillary Clinton or a person of color like Barack Obama were under 4 indictments, what would the conservative voting populace have to say about that? What would the conservative news outlets have to say about that? How would they be covering it? And I don't think it's a long leap to say they'd be covering it very differently and they would not be supportive of this. But this indictment, it's a RICo charge. And for those of you who don't know, that's RICo stands for Racketeering, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act. This is the statute. This is the act that was put in place so the United States government can go after mafia. You know what I mean? It could go after organized crime. The way organized crime used to get away with crime is the boss wasn't actually the one on the street selling drugs and killing people and shaking people down and all those things. They were instructing their underlings to do it, and RICo allowed them to charge the whole organization as a crime. So in essence, we're now treating Donald Trump as the boss, and the organization is his administration. Like, think about that, how significant that is. And people don't care. And I find that just incredibly disheartening and sickening even. This is the office of the United States President that we're talking about, and we should hold this at high esteem. And as we're running for office, I think the thing that I want to point out to you guys is I want to talk about narcissism. Now, obviously as a psychotherapist, I know what narcissism is, and I have not seen, treated, I cannot diagnose Donald Trump as a narcissist, or be more specific, what we call narcissistic personality disorder. But I can tell you this: when a narcissist is in a contest, whether it's an athletic game or a board game, or in this case, running for office against someone else, there are only two outcomes that are acceptable to the narcissistic brain. The first one is I win. So if I'm in a contest, I'm running for office against that opponent, the only one of two outcomes I can live with is, number one, I win. And oftentimes it's like I will do anything to win. I will break rules, I will tell lies, I will fabricate truths, I will do whatever, but I win. The second outcome that is processable by the narcissistic mind is I was cheated. And you see that a lot in like athletics, right? Like I lost and I don't think they were playing fair or whatever, right? So that's narcissistic brain. I won or I was cheated. Donald Trump took route two. He lost, and per the way America does their elections, it was very clear, very obvious. There was no evidence whatsoever of a stolen election, but that was the thing he had to promote because he needed his brain to be able to process the loss, and the narcissistic brain cannot process loss in the same way. So he's now saying, I was cheated. He's been saying it ever since the election and took forth efforts to try to show that, and there is no evidence whatsoever. 60 courts threw it out. But a significant part of the American population is believing it. If you want to know why, watch a previous video I did about a similar topic where I talked about confirmation bias. We have a tendency to believe the things that are already in line with what we think. I feel a tremendous sense of responsibility to explain the way narcissism works, because I think people think like a narcissist is just like this big, strong, cocky person, or this arrogant person, or even just a jerk. But narcissism is way more than that. It's the inability to experience the world through other people's feelings, right? That's a very basic and general explanation. And they're people who cannot tolerate and cannot experience things like loss, and their brains will literally process it differently. And because of the size of Donald Trump's microphone, he's got the ability to try to convince others that that's not true, that he was robbed and it was stolen, all those things. And in this case, he allegedly engaged in criminal activity to try to overturn it. Even he was recorded. I mean, the mountain of evidence put forth in these 4 indictments is so high. There is now a RICo charge, which means there was an organized attempt to overthrow this election, and that's a problem. And I'll be honest with you, like, I'm not a politically conservative Republican, but I have no problem with that being a thing. Vote how you guys would like to vote, support the candidates that you would, but I do want us to have a higher standard on what we would allow into this office and understand how difficult and corrupt and narcissism can be. Now, I want to end this video by asking a quick question. You know, elections are necessary for democracy. They're very important for how we run our country, as I think they should be. And people should have the ability to say, like, here's my platform, here's what I'm going to be doing, and if I win office, here's what I'm going to say. Donald Trump is currently the leading Republican for the nomination for president in this upcoming 2024 election. My question is, when was the last time you heard him talk about a policy that he will be running on other than revenge? He has publicly said, if I get back into office, it's going to be a revenge tour. But I don't know if that's a policy that we should be holding on to for someone becoming a president. When was the last time you heard Donald Trump talk about the policies that he would be working on to make America successful? And because I can't remember any. This is all about a revenge tour, and I think that's a problem. So please consider that as you consume information about what is happening with the former president. So thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate you watching the Therapist React series. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on social media, hit the like button on this video. Make sure you have your notifications on so you get notified every time we post a new video, which is every single day, Monday through Friday. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.